Beauty comes in all shades, and that's the message behind a new program. That's a project from our makeup artist, Natalie Cumberbatch. She does her makeup here on Morning Live. That's why she's in studio, and we're a safe distance apart because you're not wearing a mask right now. But this was a great idea that you started because you noticed people sitting in your chair or sitting in other chairs of makeup artists that didn't have all the options available for them.
It was a story that I hear very often, and I thought, you know, we have these conversations in our communities all the time, but we're not having them outside of them. And so I wanted to shed light on kind of the lack of inclusiveness that was happening in the industry, and I thought the best way to do that was to give women of color a voice and let them share their stories.
Right, and who better than you, because you are a woman of color, you're a professional makeup artist, you know how to, and it can be really expensive. Like makeup artists will say, I don't have enough money to put together a kit that has every single shade in it, but you're working towards that as well.
So when it comes to having a stock kit, you don't have to have everything. You want to have the lightest of the light shade. You want to make sure you have the darkest of the dark shade, and then a few in between, because you can do things like this here. So this here is a palette where it has a few different shades, and I have also a mixer. So if a fair shade is still too dark, I can use that white mixer to lighten it up. And if a dark shade is too dark, and I need something in between, I can use these shades to create that look that I'm looking for. So it doesn't matter who sits in my chair, I'll be prepared for them.
Right, and even not just sitting in a chair, but even going to like a drugstore or a beauty counter and not finding the color that is your color, right? Like that must be so frustrating.
The great thing about what's happening in the industry is that they are recognizing that there is a lack of this inclusion. So we have people like Rihanna creating lines that have all sorts of shades, so really fair and really, really dark. MAC has always been in that line where their mission statement was all sexes, all races, and all ages. So starting there as a makeup artist, I really got to develop my skill and understand the importance of having every tone in my kit.
Right, right. And you've launched now, it just launched today, Instagram and a YouTube channel for Beauty Comes in All Shades. And where this is the first of 6 series that you're doing in this project.
Yes.
And it's great because you show different tips and techniques with all different skin colors.
Yes, and we got to hear from the women what their experiences are. I think when you actually hear women's stories, you're like, wow, like that happens. Because if it's not on your radar, you're not gonna know that it's there. And the best part actually about the project was the reaction after. The joy and the shock and the you could feel that they just felt so empowered and so beautiful. And it's just was such a gift to be able to be part of that and create something that just made someone feel so fabulous. So
yeah, and we'll get the links up to those pages because we've been talking about this for a long time, right? And you've really, here at the station, you helped us to expand what we carry as well, because every guest who comes in, male, female, they need makeup, right? And there's nothing more humiliating than, oh, sorry, we don't have your color. We've got everybody's colors now.
And the thing is to always remember, it's okay not to, just add it. So sometimes we're like, oops, I don't have this. So let me make sure that in my next order, I add it. I've done that in my own kit where I thought I've had enough colors, and then I've added some and I'm like, wow, I'm glad I bought those extra few. So it's just about constantly learning, constantly updating your kit and being aware of every shade and every tone. Right,
right. We've got about 30 seconds left, but you had a really good tip about if you're buying things, to go for the darkest shades because you can always make it a little bit lighter. So with the blush there.
So this blush here, I picked 2 tones that would create a very neutral look on a woman of a deeper shade or a fairer shade. But if you are running into the problem where you want to keep your makeup cost and budget, go with the darker shade because you can become very light-handed on someone who's fair toned, and then you have that vibrant color for someone who's dark toned. If you don't have that deep color for the women of color, it's not going to show up the same. So
okay, Natalie, great idea, great project that you've just launched. Beauty Comes in All Shades on Instagram and YouTube. We'll get the links up at CHCH. Thanks for coming into the studio, which you're never in here.
Thanks for having me.